Hello everyone, welcome to Global Minima YouTube channel. Today we will be discussing what next to do after you are done with the task of image classification. When I got started with the field of deep learning, I started applying image classification on datasets like MNIST, CFAR10, dog versus cat datasets, and I was able to get decent amount of results on them. But after this, I was not exactly sure what next to do, and I guess this is the case with many of you as well. So I went across to the internet to find out resources which would help me in this direction. And I found this one particular interesting resource where the author has documented his journey in this field of deep learning for across an year. And I found this resource particularly helpful. And I thought it would be good to share it across along with you as well. So in this video, we'll try to see what are all the other algorithms that you can try apart from image classification. Starting with object detection. Object detection is the first thing that will come to mind when someone wants to do something other than image classification. It is a natural extension. In image classification, we are only concerned with what are all the objects that are present in an image, but in object detection, we come a bit far ahead and try to see not only what are all the objects that are present in an image, but where are these objects present in the image with the help of a bounding box. And the particular use cases where these are helpful, you would have seen in industries recently employing algorithms to detect whether a person is wearing a mask or not. And how is this possible? This is possible due to an object detection algorithm that is staying behind and trying to detect a mask on the face of the person, saying whether he is wearing a mask or not. The next task would be the image segmentation. In image segmentation, we try to be even more precise in getting the boundary of the object and trying to get the exact boundary of the object. In object detection, we are happy with getting just the bounding box, but here we try to get the pixel perfect accurate boundary. That is trying to label every pixel in the image as belonging to what object it is. And coming to the use cases where this is applicable, in Google Portrait Mode or Samsung Bokeh Effect, you might have seen the background getting blurred out, leaving you in focus. And how is this possible? This is possible due to the algorithm or the camera figuring out where you are present, that is your boundary, and trying to blur out the other part. Same thing happens in Zoom virtual backgrounds as well. It can figure out your boundary and try to replace your background with a virtual background. The next task would be object tracking. Here we have come to videos. Previously we were only concerned with images in classification, object detection, and segmentation. Object tracking, we try to track an object across different frames in a video. This you can think of like object detection for videos. Only thing is we are concerned with not only detecting where the object is present in a frame, but also trying to figure out the trajectory of the object across in a particular video. And that is why it is a difficult task than a simple object detection algorithm. Another interesting task is action recognition. In action recognition, we are trying to figure out what is the action that is happening in a particular video. And why is this difficult than a simple image classification? This is because we, that is humans or even computers, they can't figure out what is the action that is happening from just a single image. Because, for example, consider either plank or push up. You can't just figure out from a single image whether the person is doing planks or push ups. But if you are given a few frames, you can figure out. Similarly, if a computer is provided few frames, it can use the information from across the frames to figure out what is the task that is happening. That is, this task, action recognition, needs not only the spatial information but also the temporal information that is present across the frames to do this task. And that is why it is a tougher task than a simple classification. The very interesting task that I'm going to talk about now is generative algorithms. Until recently, people have been thinking that computers can do computational tasks like the tasks that we have discussed above, and thought that they can't be creative like humans. But with the advent of generative algorithms that has been proved wrong. Computers can be creative like humans. They can draw paintings, they can generate music, they can imagine humans, they can convert a horse to zebra and do things like this with the help of generative algorithms. And that is something interesting that happened in previous few years. For example, all the human images that you are seeing in this frame are not real. These are generated by a computer. These are all fake humans imagined by a computer. Similarly, you might have seen videos of, of deep fakes circulating in the internet, like Trump saying something which he did not say in real. And how is this possible? This is possible due to a computer imagining that fake video happening. So that is how these fake videos are circulating the internet. Next is the 3D computer vision. So humans don't view the world in 2D. They view it in 3D because we have two eyes, right? Using those two eyes, we are able to get a 3D perspective of the world. But the so far we are only training computers to view world in 2D using images. But with data sets like using point clouds, we can actually give the computer the ability to view the world in 3D as well. So all the tasks that we have discussed so far, right? Classification, object detection, segmentation, and the other tasks, they can not only be performed in 2D data, they can be performed on 3D data, that is the point cloud data as well. So the same algorithms come for 3D as well. And that is something interesting for anyone who wants to get into this field of 3D as well. And it is very nascent at this point of time. So I hope this gave an idea of what are all the other things that you can do apart from image classification and should give enough motivation to get started in this field. So if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel of Global Minima. Thank you.